The Germanic tribes living in Scandinavia were maritime societies. Much of their survival and exploration depended upon the sea, rivers, and access to clean water. This drove them into building boats, the most sophisticated in the world at the time, and were therefore able to reach Britannia with relative ease. Once these Germanic invaders started to settle in Britannia, we call them the Anglo-Saxons. They are an amalgamation of Germanic tribes from the North Germanic coastline and Scandinavia, mostly Frisians, Jutes, Angles, and Saxons. They are also the sons of Angul and Saxonite. Anglo-Saxon is a contemporary term, used and possibly invented by King Alfred the Great, who called himself King of the Anglo-Saxons. Although Anglo-Saxons, such as Bede, would have used the term Anglicus, he also sometimes used Anglo and Saxons side by side as an umbrella term. Anglo-Saxon became more widely used around the 10th century, however before then it was used more widely in the continent. For example, it was used by Rome when talking about the new Germanic invaders to Britannia. So Anglo-Saxon is also a contemporary term even before the 10th century and to the period, although towards the end. Other contemporary terms that were used to define the Anglo-Saxons as a collective group were the Anglish or English, particularly by Bede, but even this was a papal term that most likely predates Bede. The Anglo-Saxons themselves, prior to the 10th century, would have thought themselves as belonging to their kingdom rather than as an Anglo-Saxon collective, such as Northumbrian, Mercian, or Middle Angles, for example. The Anglo-Saxons spoke a North Germanic language and followed a Germanic paganism more similar to that of the Scandinavian tribes. Anglo-Saxon English or Old English developed from the original Germanic language, as the Germanic tribes who migrated to Britain became isolated from their continental counterparts, leading to a distinct linguistic evolution due to separation by the sea. They were a tactful warrior and seafaring people. Once gaining their wealth from mercenary warfare and raiding, they were now enticed by Britannia as an opportunity. It should also be noted that climate change at this time caused many agricultural problems. They needed to find land to farm, so Britannia would have enticed them even more. It would have been a great risk for the Anglo-Saxons to want to migrate to this new mythical land. The Germanics who travelled to Britannia would have done so for countless reasons, including, as before stated, climate change and wanting to farm new land, potential overcrowding in Scandinavia, wanting to start a new life, adventure and excitement, being lower class and very poor in Scandinavia, so nothing else to lose, possible persecution in Scandinavia due to past crimes, stories of a mythical land enticing them, and many more potential personal reasons. Their life experiences would have been much different to that of the Celtic Britons, and even further removed from the Romanised Britons. Many of the Germanics may not have even heard of Rome, and had no first-hand experience of Roman luxury. Most of them likely never saw such big towns before, or even used money. Instead, they would have saw this land as a tool for farming, and forests for timber, and animals to hunt. Britannia, now unprotected by Rome, must have seemed like a paradise. Free land and a new future for those brave enough to sail the sea. John Blair states that, in economic and cultural terms, Anglican England, the Anglo-Saxon kingdoms, makes more sense as the westernmost edge of Scandinavia than as part of the British Isles. Be sure to check out my other channel, History Sticks, for the complete, longer, and comprehensive video.